we got Amber Drake coming on in just a few minutes here, talking about the universal response to self-love. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to dive in. It's going to be a great conversation, so make sure you stick around. And I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to become your greatest possible self, to unleash all aspects of you. The parts that you love, the gifts that you're proud of, the strengths that serve you. And even if you have to unleash those parts that maybe you're not so proud of, the darker places, the shadows, the stuff that makes you uncomfortable, find the people who you can share that stuff with so you don't have to keep carrying it around, and free yourself. Be your authentic self. Be real. Be vulnerable. Share so that you can truly be powerful. Thank you for being here. We're going to be diving into this interview in just a sec. So let's quickly share our iTunes review of the week, because this week it's by M. Davis777, and M. Davis is very inspirational and educational. This is the podcast to listen to if you're looking for both inspiration and education on a variety of topics to help you become the best you can be. Thank you so much, M. Davis. I appreciate you. And if you want to give us a review, go to beergps.com/iTunes or search Greatest Possible Self on the Apple Podcast Store. Give us a review. Let us know what you love, what you want to see more of, how we can improve the show for you. And who knows, you might get shouted out on a future 12-hour live stream. I'm going to introduce Amber in just a second here. Before that, grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, be ready to take notes, because it's literally one idea has the power to change everything for you. Your entire life, your entire destiny. So make sure you stick around all the way through to the end, because this is going to be gold. Let's introduce Amber, and then we will bring her on the screen. Amber Leanne Drake is a wifey, a friend, and a holistic life coach. She has spent the last 6 months completely unearthing, reshaping, recreating herself. She is standing fully in her power and is so grateful for the opportunity to do so. She helps women ditch burnout and reclaim their confidence and turn up the heat in their intimate relationships. And she's kind of obsessed with plants, being warm, and audiobooks, I'm sure, to name a few things. And we are blessed to have Amber with us today. Amber, are you ready to unleash for our audience today?
Yes, I am so happy to be here, Chris. Thank you so much. I am so excited. I seriously am obsessed with being warm.
Yes.
I am so ready.
I love it. I love it.
I love what you're about. I love what you're up to, and I love getting to be in your energy today. I'm just so excited.
It's only possible because of people like you who are unearthing, unleashing, recreating all aspects of you and serving people in the process. So you know a thing or two about transformation, I'm guessing, by that intro. The theme of today, Amber, is patterns of transformation. What does that mean for you?
For me, I see everything very cyclically.
Yeah.
We move through our lives cyclically. We move through seasons cyclically. Everything happens in its own time and in its own reasoning. And our transformation is the same way. We come up against the same, we're born with struggles that we're going to have and things that we have to walk through, and new levels, new devils. You may tackle something, you may pull something out of your closet and you're like, all right, son, we're done. And then next year you see a similar monster and you're like, dang it. I thought you and I had this handled. I thought we were taking care of this. And it's because we're constantly evolving. Yeah. And though nothing ever, it's just like energy. Nothing ever completely dissipates, right? Nothing ever is completely gone. And so we have to keep showing up for ourselves. And I feel like I've had to learn this lesson the hard way quite a few times I have to remember the things that trip me up, because they're going to come back and it's not like I get to be like, okay, fear, screw you, I'm out. I'm not dealing with you anymore. And then it completely goes away. Yeah. It's gonna the same fears, the same struggles that we have, they're gonna keep showing up. And that's why I'm just so passionate about walking with and empowering other women to lead themselves powerfully, because when we are leading ourselves, we're leading from that place of just that cyclical place of like taking care of ourselves, pouring into others, and then seeing the patterns as they arise and tackling them piece by piece by piece, and not, I don't know. I feel like it's so easy to be like, look at all of this that I've accomplished, look at the things that I've done, and make it look like, oh, I did the thing. No, I'm doing the thing.
Yeah. Because there's, like you said, there's the cycle is, and the mindset is, I'm on the journey. I have not conquered fear. It is a lifelong process. It is a lifelong relationship, And I think that that's when we become certain, right? It's like, I'm certain, I'm done with fear, right? And to step into that place of certainty with an unwillingness to look, and then you start getting this myopic focus, and then you can get blindsided by it. And I think that's one of the biggest values of a coach, someone who can be there and give you that perspective and help you to see what is going on, so that you don't sabotage yourself over and over and over again. You can break through that cycle, break through to new results. So I love it. I love the cyclical aspect. I think that's freaking beautiful. Let's talk about a holistic life coach. What is it, and what do you do for your clients?
Yeah, so the way that I see it is holistic to me means that I look at every aspect of your life. When I'm working with a client, I'm looking at their relationships, or if you're an entrepreneur, your business, or things that you're struggling with in your job or your kids, or I look at the whole human being, mind, body, and soul. And so I will tap in and I will ask the hard questions about health, about your mindset, about your relationships, and I stand as a mirror to be like, hey, this is what I'm seeing. Do you see the same thing? Do you want to change that, or do we want to leave that? Because I mean, if you want to leave it, that's fine, but like, it's here.
Either way, it's great with me, but
I'm here to see women as whole and complete and powerful, fully as they are.
Yeah.
And then to ask them if they want to step up and contend for the next level. It's not my choice. I want all of my clients to step into the next level.
Right.
And I'm here for that.
Yeah.
But it's on us. And I firmly believe that the elevation of the world, it really just starts with the elevation of us.
Yeah.
And we have to be willing to lead ourselves in that. Yeah. And that looks like looking in the mirror. And so I tell my clients that I help them get where they were probably going to go anyways, a little faster.
I love it. I love it. You got some supporters in the audience. Connor said, so blessed to be to be in that cycle with you, Amber. You inspire me every day. Shannon Rose said, hello, Amber. What is up, super people out there? Oh,
my heart.
About to start
my husband and Shannon, you guys are the best. Thank you so much, Connor. Thank you so much, Shannon. Love you guys.
Yes, I love it. I love it. So we're going to go back into your journey. We're going to talk about, where did this desire to serve people, to be a coach, where did it come from?
Yeah, I struggled initially. I struggled with anxiety, panic attacks, depression. I was newly married, and I thought that newlywed bliss was right around the corner. If I could just get married and get to a new town and get settled in with my husband, that things would change. And they didn't. They actually just got worse. I got more depressed and more anxious, and struggled really heavily in my body, and gaining weight and hormone issues. And it really brought me to a place, and I was actually just talking with someone the other day about this, of like, it literally was a universal, like, sit down. You stop. Because I craved sleep, but I couldn't sleep. I was insomniatic. I was not sleeping at night, wishing I could be asleep all day, living between my couch and my bed. And I had my life just came to a halting, just a screeching halt, a complete stop. And it was in that I had to really look at, what am I doing? How am I treating my body? How am I treating my mind? And in having to stop and get present with my body and get in my physical body, I became a lot more aware of what was causing the anxiety, what was causing the depression. and the panic attacks and the things. And some of it was health issue. I mean, some of it was health stuff. Just my body was sending up flares. There is something wrong. And so I had to get into my physical body. And though getting into my physical body gave me access to get into my mind.
Yep. Yep.
And you and I talked a little bit about this when we talked the other day. Was just about so many of us, when we start this journey, we start it in our bodies. Start it with a weight issue. We start it desiring to look healthier or feel healthier or whatever. And then it triggers this change in, oh, well, I'm doing this for my body. Why am I not feeding my mind too? And so I started feeding my mind, and mindset belief systems started coming up left, right, and center. I was like, wow, there's a lot more layers to this onion than I thought there were going to be. I'm like peeling and peeling. And not each peel was fun. I mean, it was hard work. It's not fun. I'm not going to ever sit here and be like, oh yeah, this is, I haven't shed a tear. It's all been unicorns and, and rainbows, but it's so worth it.
Yeah. And it's on the other side of it. On the other side of peeling the layer is the fun, right? So it's like, it is not any one thing, but it is also not any one thing, because you're going to experience all the emotions in that holistic experience, right? You're going to be sad, you're going to cry, you're going to be pissed off, you're going to be angry, you're going to want to punch something, you're going to be on top of the moon, right? Like over the moon, like so grateful when we're on this journey of life, right? I love what you said. Every level, there's a new devil, right? But when you conquer a level, you're freaking jacked out of your mind, stoked, like, yes, but when you face that next devil, you're like, why?
Yes. It is so true. And every level just brought me closer and closer to myself.
Yes.
And that's where I realized how clearly my self-love journey changed my life. Wow. Because the journey of self-love and the journey of learning to see yourself clearly is it's the journey of the soul. And that's a lifelong journey. I actually fell in love with this idea over the summer. Mm-hmm. And I did a little test. I did a little self-love test. Mm-hmm. I had been dabbling with self-love. Taking care of my body was, for me, this huge piece of self-love. Mm-hmm. But I still had this real disconnect between, like, taking care of my body, yes, and then loving my body were two very different things.
Yeah, yeah. I hear acceptance as well. Like, do I actually accept this body? I'll take care of it. I'll do what I gotta freaking do, but like even me, like, this last little bit of fat, like, what is wrong with you? Like,
right.
Six pack, what's going on?
Right. And though, can we get to a place where we look at ourselves and we don't focus in on the horrendous, like, I don't have a six pack. I grew really fast. I stretched out in high school. I have stretch marks on my hips. Like, I haven't had kids and I have stretch marks on my hips. Like, the things that you focus in on, that it's like, it's, first of all, not important. Secondly, no one else is noticing those things. And if they are, then, like, they can go pound sand. And if not, like, it's not that important. Yeah. And so I decided that I was going to practice over the summer two things. One, seeing myself the way that my husband sees me. My husband's Connor. He just wrote the sweetest thing on this post, and he clearly sees something in me that I was not seeing in myself. There's obviously something there in the way that he sees me. Yeah. And the way I thought about it is, like, when I see him, I don't see his fat or his body weight percentage, or I see his soul for who he is as an incredible, amazing human being. Why can't I see myself for that same way? Yeah. And so that, and then also to see what would happen when and if I really truly did lead myself powerfully in my self-love practice to those around me. How would the universe start responding? How would the human beings in my life start responding to me if I held myself to a new standard of respect and boundaries. And it was kind of mind blowing. I did this just it was over the summer. I was like, I'm going all in on 90 days of anytime that I feel anxious or stressed, I'm just going to take a bubble bath, or I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to do things that I love. And I am a huge, like, I will always be outspoken and say that self-love is not just bubble baths and candles. And though for me, it was like a physical get in my body reminder that, like, I am here, I can be present. I enjoy bubble baths and candles. So why don't I give myself that more often? Yeah. And so everything changed. I got present in my body. It allowed me to just really not only be content in my life, but to find true peace and joy. And just the more in tune I became with myself, the more intuition I had, the more powerful of a wife and a coach I became. I'm starting to call stuff out on people that I would have never noticed before, because I'm in tune with myself. And so when I can, like, not be up here, I can be in your brain.
Yeah.
I can be in tune. I can be with you. Yeah. I can be with someone and not be spinning around up here. Yeah. And I finally did see clearly what my husband saw in me. And I saw that part of my soul, and it was just like, you beautiful, beautiful soul. Where have you been all of my life? And it's like, I was right here all along. You just weren't looking.
There's a couple things I want to touch on. Number one is the act of self-love, whatever that is, right? Whether it's making a bath or going on a walk or spending an hour to read. I know my girlfriend Petya, she loves her spacious morning routine, where she just gets to lay in bed. You know, typically she loves it even more when I bring her breakfast and bread in bed. It doesn't always happen, but, you know, just like yes. a little cherry on top. But yeah, so she loves that. She loves to have that spaciousness. And so for her, that self-love act and the energy of self-love she loves bubble baths too. Let me tell you what, you know. And it can look different for everyone. And there's different practices, but it's about the energy that we do it with. It's about knowing what does self-love look like? And then how do I do those things? How do I make sure I put it in my schedule? How do I prioritize it to make sure it's getting done? Because if it doesn't exist in my calendar, it doesn't exist at all. But, you know, whatever your tracking system is for you listening, like, ask yourself, are you really dedicating the time, or are you making excuses? Or have you heard all the different things to go to nature, to do the bubble bath, to go shopping, to, you know, whatever works for you that is fulfilling, is self-love for you? Are you doing it? Is it in your calendar? If not, like, really take this moment. I love podcasts because it shares information, but if you don't do anything with the information, then, like, you're in my opinion, you're wasting your time compared to what you could be doing. So listen to the rest of this podcast, keep tuning in, and the bigger priority for you, if you haven't taken action on this, is put it in your dang schedule. Take a minute and put something in your schedule right now that brings self-love. If you feel like you haven't been doing that for yourself, do it right now. We give you permission. Amber gives you permission to take care of yourself, to love yourself, to put yourself first, so that you can be happy and overflow into other people's lives and really be the best contribution, best version of yourself that you can be for them as well.
Yeah, I'm so for that. I actually did a mini series in my group a little bit ago called Self-Love Logistics, and it's just who, what, when, where, and why.
Yes.
Like, who are you doing this for? Because if you're doing it as a way to, I have to fill my cup, or I'm not going to be able to show up for my family, I have to do this because Pinterest says so. Nope. Stop. Nope. There's no reason. There's no point. It's the same way if I'm going to produce content and I'm going to sit there and be like, I have to write something on Instagram because I have to. No one wants to see that. No one wants that. You don't want that. If you're not doing it for you, don't bother. It's not worth it. And so who and then what? I love encouraging my clients and the women in my group to create what I call a light to me up list. What are things that you either used to love doing or that you love doing, you know, on your most favorite days? Go back as far as you need to. The last time that you had a good amount of fun, what was the last thing that, you know, you had a fabulous, amazing day? What did you spend it doing? Was it a spacious morning routine where your hubby, your partner brought you breakfast in bed? Or was it, did you take yourself to go get a pedicure? Or did you go for a hike? I love thrift shopping. So thrift shopping always makes my lights me up list. So it's like, what do you love doing? And then have a list, literally put it front and center somewhere in your office, somewhere that you're going to see it. And then when you're like, oh, what do I do for myself? Look at the list. You don't have to think anymore. And then schedule it.
Yep.
Put it in your calendar. If that's what it needs to be. For me, Fridays are like my off day.
Yeah.
Where if I want to work, I work. If I want to do something else, if I want to go through shopping, that's for me. That's my time. That's my space. I don't spend it so much with my husband. I have my own special space for me. Yeah. And that's what that looks like for me. And though some people can't take a day off to have it look however they want to. Right. You have pockets of time.
Yep. 15 minutes, an hour, 5 hours, whatever you got, say this is what's going to happen. And I love what you said there as well, to create the lights me up list, because I think a lot of people struggle with, well, what am I going to do? Well, why don't you write down a list and have that list, number one, ready if you ever have a pocket of time and you're like, I need some self-love, I need some recharge, I need some me time, whatever, I'm choosing whatever. And I love what you also said about put it in the calendar. Say, this week, I want at least to spend 2 hours or invest 2 hours into my self-love. What would I put in that 2 hours? What would be the best activities I can put in there? How does it look? If someone or something tries to derail me, to take my attention, to steal me away into some drama or putting out a fire or whatever it might be, what am I going to do? That's super important.
Yeah, and that's like when we start creating this habit. I don't know if you've read James Clear's Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
So good.
It's great. Great book.
When we start creating this as a habit, and the way I started was with just a morning routine. And it was like, how can I make this more impactful? And when I started using James Clear's habit stacking of just like, after I brush my teeth, I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes. Boom. And when I got really clear, things started to shift. Because clarity is what gives you confidence, and it gives you that momentum.
Yeah.
If I'm vague and I'm like, I'm going to self-love on Friday. Okay.
What?
What does that mean? Yes. Your brain doesn't know. Your calendar doesn't know. You're not going to do it. And so when you get really clear on when, where, and then why, the energy in which we do everything is the energy in which we're building our lives. And when we are doing it out of concern for what other people are thinking, or concern or anxiety, if I don't do this, what's going to happen? If I haven't, or like whatever, you're going to get more of the same.
Yeah.
And when you choose what you desire, I desire peace this week. That's what I want in my self-love care. Okay, what is on your lights me up list that brings you peace? Do that thing in that energy, and you're going to compound those emotions, and you'll just start getting more and more of that. If you want excitement and exuberance, it's like a bubble bath isn't going to give you that. Maybe rock climbing will, and you wanted to go rock climbing, so go do the thing that's going to give you the energy of what it is that you desire to create more of in your life.
Wow. So we can create emotions that we want to feel, or states that we want to feel, outcomes, however we want to language it, and then link that with potential activities together.
Yeah. And when you get in your physical body, everything compounds. Body, mind, and soul, you get it, you compound it, and then you get to feel more and more and more of it.
Yeah.
When I was in that struggle of anxiety and depression, it was this constant loop. And guess what my physical body felt like? I'm over here like, and then I feel like this, and then I do more of this, and it compounds and it compounds.
Yep.
And now it's like, I get up, I stand up, I do yoga, I go to it's like, and I'm in my physical body, and I feel joy and power and passion in my body. That gives me those feelings, and then I just compound it, and I get to have it all the time at will. I can have any emotion that I desire at will.
Yeah. And I think what people don't understand is that it's counterintuitive to whatever is the state that has been the dominant state up until now. Whatever's been programmed, your body wants to keep doing that. Your body wants to, if someone's feeling like tired and exhausted, your body wants to keep doing it. Your body wants to keep, going and drinking an energy drink, getting all amped up, jacked up, and then crashing like a mofo and like, being miserable. Like that's going to keep happening. The cycle is going to keep happening because you've trained your body to do that. Or addictions to, whatever, drinking, wine, smoking, whatever it might be, like those types of things, whatever the coping mechanism is, your body is programmed, is trained, we would say feels safe, even like enjoys that. Even if it feels like sadness or guilt or shame or regret or whatever, there's a payoff. There's a payoff to that. And your body's like, okay, I got my payoff. I'm going to keep doing this. It's a cycle.
Well, and it's, I'm reading Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza.
Yes.
And he talks about this, the way that our brains are plastic, essentially.
Yep.
And the fact that when we do something enough times, it becomes a habit.
Yep.
So much so that our body literally knows it is programmed and is going to run the program without your brain's input. That's why in the morning when you're like, I'm going to get up early, I'm going to go to the gym, but your brain has been programmed for so long to sleep in and hit snooze 100 times, your body's like, don't worry, brain, go back to sleep. I've got this. And then you live the same day over and over and over and over again. And it takes something to get out of that. And though on the flip side of it, you can change that. And once you change it, you have to do the hard, unsexy work. Once we do that work, though, it becomes easy. It becomes autopilot on the opposite spectrum, on the opposite side. Yeah. And that's what people, I get this question a lot. How do you stay in motivation? And when do things get easier? I don't know when things are going to get easier for you, but what I do know is that positive pressure over time is going to create the results that you're desiring. And we then create a positive spiral loop, right? We create this positive spiral and our bodies then know what to do. They get up when the alarm clock goes off. We do our yoga, we do our stretching, we go work out, we do the things, and it's just on autopilot.
When you created your group, was there an intention to support people in even more ways to create more like supportive environment for them to continue their transformation? Because I know oftentimes we can feel alone, or when I'm not talking to my coach, or when someone's not watching, it's like easier to kind of fall back on bad habits. Why did you create your group?
Yeah, I wanted it to be a space that I could lead myself powerfully as an access for women to see what's possible. So support, yes. Women linking arms, yes. And that's happening in a lot of places already. Yeah. And though I truly wanted it to be a space where I can show up at my highest level for my women as an access, as an example, because I don't believe that, I just don't believe that we change people. People change people. People change themselves. Yep. And though when someone sees what I'm up to in the world and they say, wow, I want to be like her, I want to show up in that group. And that's why I created the group, is that I could show up. I show up differently there than I show up on my personal page. My personal Facebook profile has a little bit of family, a little bit of fun, a little bit of like my professional look. And though you will catch me in my Sojourner Sisterhood group in my jammies at 9:00 talking about something that's on my heart, that like, it's what I'm in, really. What's really happening behind the scenes, and the actual struggles that are happening behind the scenes, because my life isn't perfect. Yes, I've done a lot of this work, and though I keep having to do the work and things keep coming up for me and I keep having to work through stuff and handle new conflicts within myself as they arise. And so I wanted that space to be a space that I could show up fully as myself, as an access for women to see both sides. Because I feel like social media is so much it's so easy to see the highlight reel. It's so easy to see me in my makeup and like my, you know, like my sparkly shirt on. And though like you're not going to catch me on a Saturday afternoon looking like that. Like it's just, I want to be real with the women who are in my energy. And so that's what I wanted it for. And then of course, like the support and all that stuff comes as women band together.
Yeah. Yeah. This is good. I love it. I think that it's important that I hear you design the group first for like self-love, right? To love yourself, to say, I'm going to show up powerfully. I'm going to show up as the example. I know for me, it's like, I know when people are watching, I show up even more. I love to perform. I love to get shit done. And even more when I have a team, when I have people around me doing the same thing, or an audience. That's just, like, I thrive in that. And I think it's important to know, where are my strengths? Where do I do better? Where do I show up as my greatest possible self? And it sounds like you're aware that when you're leading these women and showing up as your authentic self, like you create a space where you give yourself permission to be that best version of you, whether it's high and, you know, like you're on top of the world and so grateful, or you're having a really shitty day and you just get to be real with people, you know, and you're like, man, like here's what happened. And to give them permission to also do the same thing, I think is so powerful.
Thank you. Yeah, we all deserve to feel our feelings as they are.
Yeah.
To walk through life as it is. And I think that that's one thing that I personally really struggled with, is all of the stories around what it meant. What does it mean that I'm anxious and depressed? And then there's this big old story and there's this drama about what it means and who I am because I am anxious and depressed. And then it turns into a monster all its own. As opposed to me just feeling my feelings and moving through that, I allowed my feelings to control my life as opposed to me controlling my feelings. And I think we all deserve a space where we can show up as ourselves.
Yeah.
And for me, that's really in my marriage and in my Soul Journer Sisterhood group. And you'll probably even hear some of that in my podcast too. Like I put out a podcast a couple days ago that it was just like, here I am. I'm actually not that excited to be talking to you because I don't want to be talking about this, but here it is because everyone needs this. It's not just me who needs this. And so, yeah, I feel like showing up authentically looks like getting both sides of the story.
I feel like you've grown a lot in a very short period of time. What would you attribute fast growth to?
Having a coach. Hands down. I was doing this work. I've been doing this work now for 4 years, roughly. And I have grown more in the last 3-4 months than I had in the last 2 years. There's something about stepping up into someone else's energy. And I do the same for my clients. It's like when I hold space for someone, I am holding space at my highest level and you step into that.
Yeah.
And so you rise to that. So my coach holds me up here and I'm rising to that. And I know who her coach is and I know where she's going. And so I know where I'm going. And that clarity has changed everything for me. And having someone holding space for you to be fully who you are and then to help you contend for more, it's invaluable.
What do you recommend for someone who's looking for a coach, or, I think everyone wants to be their best self, their greatest possible self. What do you recommend to them about how they relate to a coach, or how they find a coach that's aligned with them? Because I think sometimes people aren't even necessarily looking, but it just happens that they're in the right place at the right time and they find that perfect person for them. How do they go about that and navigate that journey successfully?
To call me baby. No, I believe that we innately know when we're in someone's energy if it feels elevating or it doesn't align. So tuning into your like gut response to someone. I have a good friend who she was working with a coach for a while and she really loved their relationship, and then it got to a point where she didn't feel like they aligned anymore. And she just had a feeling about it. So she called off the relationship. They were done working with one another. And it's like, I was so proud of her because it's like, she just knew. And though I believe that we all know what the answer is, and to not overthink it.
Yeah.
Don't take the first person that just pops into your feed. And though, if that person keeps showing up in your feed and you feel drawn to them, or you see what they're talking about and you're like, that's me, then reach out to them. I know that for me, I do a 30-minute like free coaching session with anyone who comes into my space as just an access to see like, hey, what's it feel like for us to sit down and have a conversation? And I know that most coaches do that or something like that. So if you're curious about someone, reach out to them and say, hey, I want to be in your space. How do I get to know you better? Get into their group, get on their Instagram feed, tune into their stories, watch their lives. If you're watching their lives and the stuff that they're talking about makes you like go, and you're uncomfortable, you don't want to work with them. If you have a coach that's dropping F-bombs and you hate cursing, guess what? Like, don't work with them. So like tune into what you feel about. What are your physical feelings? Like when I think about my coach, like I want to jump up and down because she's the best thing ever. Shout out to Shannon Rose. She's amazing. And like, she makes me so excited to just be in her energy. Whenever I get to spend time with her, I'm like, yes, I love being with you. And if you don't feel that way about someone and you're going to work really closely with them, it's going to be really uncomfortable. Yeah. It's going to be uncomfortable for you. It's going to be uncomfortable for them.
What's the difference between I align with this person, it feels great to be around this person, I feel expansive around this person, and then when shit hits the fan, when there's those tough moments, then we feel like confronted? What's the difference between that? Like, how does someone know if just because I'm around this person, like they're going to help me grow, or if it's a fit or not? How do they know that?
So I'll speak from my own personal experience. So sure. when I came to cat's out of the bag, I work with Shannon Rose. She's amazing. She's my business coach. When I came to her, I was like, I am at a like end of the road, like shit has hit the fan moment where I'm just like over it. Yeah. And if something doesn't change, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose my mind. Yeah. And she listened to me. She asked me how my relationship was with my husband right then at that moment. It wasn't very good. Like she tapped into some of the things that were in my life that really were hurting. And it didn't necessarily feel good for me to lay it all out on the line for her. And though I felt supported and I trusted her after that conversation that she would leave me. And there have been moments that I really, really loved talking to her. And there have been moments when I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're even talking about. I'm doing all of the things. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And it's like, what are you talking about? And I have felt very triggered. Yeah. And it comes down to emotional intelligence of like, am I triggered because she's leading me in the wrong direction? Or am I actually just triggered because she's right about something that I don't want to look at? And we have to be willing to just be really honest with ourselves. If you go and you want to work with a coach, but you're not willing to be honest with yourselves, you're not going to get anything out of it. Because you're only going to be able to be as honest with that person that's holding space for you as you're able to be with yourself.
What is the practice of being more honest with ourselves? How can we be more honest? How can we, I don't want to say call ourselves out on stuff, but like lovingly say, hey, this isn't working. This isn't what you said you're committed to, or something like that. How would you recommend we can build that
like for ourselves? Like, hey, you said you were going to do the thing and you didn't do the thing. Yeah. I personally feel like when you're being dishonest with yourself, and though being willing to be honest with yourself takes getting still, and it takes getting into your self-love practice. And it takes getting quiet. If I am rushing through life so fast that I don't have time to sit and actually allow myself to feel my feelings, they're just going to compound on top of each other. And I'm going to end up feeling like a surfer who like missed the wave and just is getting pummeled into the shore. And that's very confusing. I don't know which way is up, which way is down. I don't know. I'm not breathing very well. And I'm not going to be able to tap into like, is this for me or is this because I'm triggered? That level of thought happens when you're able to get really still with yourself and you're able to sit down and like actually look at it and feel into it, because I feel like it's gonna feel the same, except for your intuition. Physically, if I felt like Shannon was just leading me in the wrong direction and I was just following along and like it didn't, like I would start to feel it here. I would feel the physical feelings of fear and anxiety. And though if she's triggering me because there's something that I don't want to look at, and guess what I'm going to feel? Fear and anxiety. Like I don't want to look at that. I'm going to feel the same feelings. And though intuitively, because I have this practice of getting quiet with myself every single day, and I have tapped into that intuition. Intuition is something that everybody has. We all have it. I believe that some people are more connected to it than others. Some people's intuition is stronger than others, but we all have access to it. And it takes practice in getting there. And that practice starts with just getting quiet with ourselves. And being able to listen to just what comes up. And being able to be, like you said, be honest with yourself. It takes getting quiet, and it takes being willing to say the hard thing out loud. Oftentimes we already know what the answer is, and we just don't want to say it. We don't want to admit it. And that's when we get into those feelings of fear and anxiety, because it's like, I don't want to admit that I was wrong, or like I messed up, or I didn't do it correctly or whatever.
Yeah, Amber, I know a lot of women have a challenge with giving themselves permission to do things. What would you recommend around that?
Stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to make time for yourself. No one else is showing up to run your race, sister. There is no one going to tap you out. Hey, take a quick 5. I'll run this for you for a little bit. Nobody's coming. It's you, it's your calendar, it's your family life, it's your schedule. It is the way that it is because you let it be that way. And so if you don't have time for yourself, look at your calendar really. What are you saying yes to that you shouldn't be saying yes to, or that it doesn't feel good to be saying yes to anymore? We're all so afraid of hurting other people or stepping on someone's toes that we're afraid to say no. 2020 is the year that my favorite word is no. Nope. And not no because I don't care about what you're working on or I'm not into what you're doing. No, because I need time for me and it has to become a priority. Otherwise it gets bogged up with everything else that we have to do. And so when we actually look at our calendars, what is a have to and what is because the kids and my husband and I should, and like, if self-love for you looks like taking a nap, but the laundry has to be done, does the laundry actually have to be done right now? Or can it wait 24 hours? But I know that I came from a place of like, well, what if my house is a mess for an hour? Like, who cares? No one, first of all, no one's going to see it. Secondly, like, who cares? We'll get to it this weekend. I need to go for a walk. I need to go for a hike. I need to go do yoga because I have to be willing to be quiet and silent with myself. Because if I am not taking care of myself, no one else is.
And I feel like this relates, Amber, with like having it all, like the ability, the idea, right? The paradigm shift of having it all. And I find it's difficult for a lot of people. It's been difficult for me to say, how do I have a great relationship? I don't even have kids yet. I don't even know. I have no idea how I'm going to manage my time with kids, but like that conversation of having it all and then dealing with reality. Like, what do you recommend to those women who want to have it all?
Yeah, you want to have it all. There's a difference between having it all and doing it all. I can have it all. I know I can have it all. I know I can have an amazing relationship. I know that I can have an amazing relationship with myself and my business and my clients and have a clean home and like food in the fridge. Yes. And though I can't do it all. The first 2 years of my marriage, I love you, Connor, if you're still listening. We we were in this place where I wasn't really working full time, but he had just taken on this massive, just like writing job that he felt like really overwhelmed in. And so I took on everything. I was cooking, cleaning, all of the things, laundry, everything, socks folded. Like he had it really good. As a husband, he just had to do his work and that was it. There was nothing else that he needed to show up for. And though then I started working outside of the home and I was like, okay, now I'm doing this and I'm doing this. And then we moved across country and I started working outside the home again. And I was wanting to start my own business and I was still taking care of everything. Mm-hmm. And I remember having a complete meltdown. I was laying on the couch listening to a podcast and I don't remember exactly what she even said, but she said something along the lines of like, we have taken on too much and there's no need for you to have to do it all. And I was just like, and she kind of prompted like, what is one thing that you could just ask for your partner or like to get off of your plate? And I remember sitting down and being actually physically nervous to have this conversation with my husband. It's like, okay, would you be willing to just clean up the dishes after I cooked it? If I cook dinner, you clean up the dishes or just cooking one night a week. And like, I'm anxious to ask him. And he looked at me like, he's like, why would you not ask for both of those things, first of all? Like, and I'm like, I literally have no idea. And though, what's the worst that could have happened?
Yeah. No.
He said no.
Yeah.
And then there would have been other issues that we needed to work through. But
right. Or I think even some people like, well, you know, if I ask this question, it could ruin our relationship. I think that is like the worst case scenario that people think. It's like, oh, it's not just going to be a no. It's going to be like a no and then a fight and then he'll leave me and then I'll be all alone and like this downward crazy spiral, right?
And to that, I would say, okay, that happens. Let's say that happens. Total breakdown, your relationship falls apart, you end up all alone. Would you survive that? If the answer is yes, and though, what's the opposite possibility? That you get a little bit off of your plate and your husband lovingly takes care of some things for you? Is it worth it to ask? To at least just ask?
Yeah. And one thing
that's probably not going to happen. And if that does happen, then do you want to be in that relationship?
No, it's not the right person anyways. If that happens, like, come on.
Yeah. Oh, like, did you want to stay in that relationship? Like, good. Okay, that cleared things up for you.
I love it.
But the fact that we're actually just afraid to ask for our own time back.
Yeah.
And things have changed so much now in our marriage. Things are split so much more evenly now. And he helps me step up. And though, you know, it's like, ask for help. I mean, we have if you have family around or you have friends, it's like, ask for the help, ask for the support and get things off of your plate that you either don't love doing or that you don't have to be doing. So we don't have to do it all.
Yeah. And I think that's the cooperation, communication, just recognizing people around us. I think we often see people as small as well. Like they can't handle my request. They won't be able to deal with it. They'll blow up. They'll like whatever. And oftentimes it's like we're making them so small and so powerless to enforce their own boundaries and to say what will or won't work for them. And I think like we just hide our asks and our desires, but really like we get to see them like say, hey, here's what I want. Here's what I would really love your support in. You have permission to say yes or no, but like this is what would really make a difference for me. What do you say? You know, and like give them the freedom to say yes or no. Don't try to like manipulate them into something, but like give them permission to say yes or no. It's so powerful.
Yeah, when we start writing someone else's story, we completely disempower them. We completely take away their power. And as a woman who is leading herself powerfully, that's what I'm a stand for. I'm a stand for you being in your own power. And if that means that you make a mistake by saying yes to me on something that you probably shouldn't have, then you've learned a lesson. But I don't get to take that away. I don't get to take the opportunity away from you as it like, oh, but I don't know, like maybe she has too much on her plate. If she does, then she should say no. But yeah, I think you're right. We take away others' power by writing their story for them.
Yeah. We had Molly in the audience who said, I have a friend who asks for help and her partner agrees, but doesn't follow through, and it causes tension. What would you recommend to something like that?
Oh, so many things I want to talk about.
Come to Jesus, Mom.
Yeah, come on, let's do this. Okay, first of all, I would say if I don't have time to get to it all, I just did a spicy self-love mini challenge on this exact thing, how to communicate within a relationship. So if you want to, just DM me and I can get you that information for you, Molly. The way we communicate to our partners is so insanely important. And yes, maybe she asked for help and maybe he said that he would, but did she communicate to him in a way that he actually heard her? Long story short, when we trust ourselves to handle something and take care of something, and then we pass off that, I see women do this all the time and I do it all the time too. Hey, could you help me with something? And then we stand there and they're not doing it right, or we haven't done it. It's not fully done, or they haven't done it in the timeline that we expected it to be done. So we'll just do it ourselves. So we take it back as opposed to just leaving it in their court. Yeah. My husband now does all of the dishes. I do not touch the dishes, bless him to the moon. And though there are times when the kitchen looks a little hairy and it gets a little out of control, and though that is his to handle because it's his responsibility that he's taken off of my plate. Yeah, yeah. And I'm not taking it back from him. Yeah. Because if I were to go in and then start doing the dishes and take it all back from him, then that's disempowering for him. And he's like, oh, well, I didn't do it right, or I didn't do it fast enough, so why bother? And when we are powerful women and we have utilized our self-love and our emotional intelligence and we're grounded, oftentimes we ask as women for things in a state of heightened emotion. And when emotion is really high, our intelligence and our ability to be grounded is really low. So if I come in to my husband's office and I'm like, hey, I need you to start doing the laundry because the laundry's not getting done and it's just stressing me out and it's all over the couch. He didn't hear a word you said, but here's what he said. It's okay. I'll take care of it.
I'm in trouble.
He's not thinking anymore. He's just in panic mode. And though he probably verbally said, oh yeah, it's all right, I've got it. If we come from a state of heightened emotion and or from this place of you need to anything, he doesn't need to do anything. When we are able to, as women, ride the wave of emotion, okay, you're pissed, the laundry needs to get done. Emotions have about a 7-minute shelf life. They come on up, they hit their peak. And if we actually are in our physical body, we feel them come up, we allow them to be what they are, we don't write a whole story about it, and we don't compound them with like all of the feelings, and we just really just feel our feelings as they come up and down, it's going to come down. Yep. And then you can get grounded and you can get clear on what it is that you desire. Yeah. And that clarity and that groundedness allows you to have a conversation where your partner actually hears you. Because maybe he said he would do something, but when we come in from this place of either heightened emotion or from like nagging, like aggressive alpha energy, and we think that we have to meet our partners, women as in a male-female partnership, we have to meet them with that, like that aggressive alpha energy, or otherwise they're not going to tune in. They don't want a mother. They don't want another like boss. They want a partner. And when I'm able to come to my husband and I'm able to say, you know what would make me feel really happy right now is if the trash could get taken care of this afternoon. He's like, heard you, got it. She's happy. I'm happy. We're all happy. Yes. Trash done. Consider it done. And when we're able to, I'm grounded. I'm not riding the waves of emotion. I'm clear on what it is that I desire, and I communicate from desire. He's like, what do you need?
That's right. Yeah, it's
I'm
easy.
in.
It's easy.
I'm all ears.
Like, I'm excited. I'm excited when it's that flow, when there's the feminine energy, when it feels like I'm the king, she's the queen, like we're getting ish done. I love this. Amber, this is so powerful. I want to tell our audience how they can stay connected with you. What next steps can they take? How do they contact you? How do they have a conversation, that 30-minute session with you?
Yeah, so you can meet me in the Sojourner Sisterhood. It is a Facebook group. If you search the Sojourner Sisterhood, I am there, and I'm there for you to connect with you. And you can also private message me on Facebook. Get in touch with me on Facebook. I'm pretty much all over the internet on at Amber Leanne Drake. And to get that 30-minute clarity call, it's calendly.com /Amber Leanne Drake /clarity -call. So I'm sure that link, I can pop that link in the comments. And that's just a 30-minute, it's a free session. There's no pressure. There's no, like, I'm not going to push you to buy anything. I just lay it out for you, what it is that it would look like for us to work together. You bring to me what it is that you're struggling with, what's up with you. And we have a conversation and we see how it feels to be in each other's energy. And for me to hold space for you and what it is that you're moving through right now in your life. And yeah, if you want that 5-day spicy self-love mini series, definitely DM me. I can get you the link to that. It was really, really cool. It was so fun, first of all, for me to create. And then it was also really fun to see the women who are moving through it, what they saw, what they got out of it. And we talk a lot about communicating from desire and how to get into that feminine, grounded flow and stop letting emotions control our lives and our relationships. So
ain't nobody got time for that, because we're living our greatest possible self, our dream life. Amber, you are the bomb. Everyone, go to Sojourner Sisterhood, especially if you're a woman.
Yes,
and,
yes, come join us.
Send her a message. Let her know what you got out of this interview. And Amber, thank you so much for the work that you're doing in the world. It's beautiful. I'm so stoked to see your journey unfold for the next years and into the next decade and two decades. You're such a powerhouse. You just keep going, keep showing up.
Thank you again so much, Chris. It was such an honor to be here, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your 12-hour live marathon.
Marathon, yes.
That's why I was like, what's the word? You're marathoning.
We're all in a marathon. Escapade.
Yes.
I love it.
Enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you, Amber. We'll see you soon, okay?
Yeah. Bye.